evening and welcome to another episode of Coffee with a Kick, this time with an NPR style introduction. I'm going to kick that to the curb right now as we get into the final match day of the Champions League, the all-important, to some people, final match day. We got all the simultaneous ones, right? So we've got one early set for Group B in the case of Tuesday, and then everybody else simultaneous at 3:00 for the other groups, and then the same for the next with who's the early ones on that next day? It's Group G. Yes, the Man City group, because it's also the two groups that are the most fully settled are the ones that have the early slots, so no one will miss anything cool. But we'll just go ahead and just kind of leap right into it with said early slots. Yep. With Group B, Lens hosts Sevilla for a right to possibly get into the Europa League if you're Sevilla. And then PSV and Arsenal play for some reason. Arsenal's got 4 points on PSV, so there's no chance there. It really comes down. The only thing, any action that you might be interested in would be the Lens Sevilla match, which I think will just be a 1-1 draw. I don't think it'll be anything cool. Because Lens doesn't need the win. They just need point. They just need a point. They don't need anything crazy. And for Arsenal and PSV, I don't know. Arsenal didn't look great in the weekend. In PSV, I don't track the Eredivisie, or however you say their division. They're in Deutschland. No, Deutschland. Dutch. They're Dutch, right? They're from the Netherlands.
Yeah, they're from the Netherlands.
Yeah, they're Dutch, but they're not from Deutschland. That's what it is. I'll go with 2-1 PSV.
Yeah, this one, as far as PSV Arsenal, I think it'll be 2-2. I think PSV will come out swinging. And I think really Arsenal will... Arteta will fire them up. I think he doesn't want them to feel like on the weekend, doesn't want them to like continue that momentum, because if they drop 2 in a row, that could really put them in a slump. So I think 2-2, and I think they come back and draw. Lens and Sevilla, they drew in the first one all the way in match day 1. So if they in fact lose to Sevilla by 2 goals or more, Sevilla will move on to Europa League. So there's kind of some implications in that one.
Yeah.
So I feel like Sevilla's going to know that. I think they're going to get it to be 3-2. I think they won't quite get that other goal. Actually, I guess if they win, goal difference doesn't matter because it's head-to-head. So never mind. I think Sevilla's going to go for it then. Still think it'll be 3-2. But I think Sevilla goes for it, and they might sneak into Europa League. Boy,
that would be definitely not where they wanted to be. Obviously at the beginning of the Champions League, but you guys are the ones who lost 3 in a row.
Europa League team. I think they won it like 5 years in a row. So it's kind of their sweet spot.
It's like, we're fine in Europa League. Dear.
And we're okay with that.
I was taking a gander here at our predicciones. Hey, we both got Arsenal. Hey, we both got this one almost exactly right. We both picked Arsenal and PSV to be 1-2. And then let's see. I had Sevilla not making it. You had Sevilla making it. So one of us is going to have a perfect bracket. One of us is going to have a perfect group here for Group B. Now, granted, this was a pretty straightforward group. We will go to Group A, which we also might be able to get perfect. Let's see. It takes some weird results here. But to those matches there at 3:00 on Tuesday, Manchester United hosts Bayern München. Bayern not playing for anything. I mean, you could tell by last match day's draws across the board for Group A that Bayern wasn't really playing for much against. They were against Copenhagen, right? Yeah. Because that Galatasaray Man U match was crazy. The first home non-win in like 18 Champions League matches or something like that. anyway, Bayern goes to Manchester and Copenhagen gets Galatasaray at home. And this is wide open for both the second spot in the knockouts and for the Europa League spot. Because Copenhagen's on 5, Galatasaray's on 5, Man U is on 4, having only beaten Copenhagen. But they split. Copenhagen and Man U split, so they're on goal difference. Ooh. And Copenhagen's got the 1 goal difference on Man U. So, Man U on a draw won't get through. Man U has to beat Bayern Munich to get through. And then it comes down to Copenhagen, Galatasaray. Galatasaray has to beat Copenhagen because Copenhagen has them on the goal difference. And then Copenhagen draw and you're through. So, out of all those machinations, what do you see happening here?
You know, I think that it's going to end up being, even though Bayern Munich doesn't have anything to play for, I think just because it's Man U, they're going to feel like they need to take it to them.
Yeah. Kick them all down.
Yeah, I think Harry Kane gets a hat trick.
Really?
I think it's 5-1.
Woo!
I think Man U's going to still psychologically not be there after the weekend. Check out our video if you have not already. Well, I guess it comes out tomorrow morning. Yeah. So check it out tomorrow morning, and we'll recap that. But Man U not playing well on the weekend. We've been saying all season they're just really on the brink of always losing. It's not really any comfortable wins. So yeah, I think they get dismantled. Now the other one, I think Galatasaray, it might have been 2 weeks ago, but I think they're still going to be riding high on that Man U game. So I think they beat Copenhagen. I'll go 2-1.
You know what? We almost have the exact same thing, except for I only have it as 4-1 for Bayern Munich. But yeah, Galatasaray I think beats Copenhagen at Copenhagen. Goes 2-1. They make it into that'd be a wrench in the plans though. Galatasaray making it into knockouts because we know those fans there up in Turkey know how to put on an atmosphere. So that away fixture in knockouts will be not ideal for whoever gets them. But it's interesting to watch because I don't think Man U's got it in them. Bayern would have to basically let them almost get through by not pressing, by not playing a full side. I don't see it happening, kind of for those same reasons. That, it's still Man U. I know they're a diminished brand from what they were in their history, but it's still Bayern and Man U. This is a classic Champions League setup. And
4 or 5 years ago, this would have been a rocking game.
Yeah.
But, this year it kind of feels like mid-table Prem team. And listen,
versus... I wish I could pick Man U here. I had them going through. I had them in second. But I don't believe in Man U. But it leaves you in the opportunity to possibly get through. That's why you would pick Galatasaray, because that does give you perfect picks there. Except for Copenhagen. Copenhagen will beat Galatasaray. Will beat Man U. So not quite perfect on that. You would have to have Man U and Galatasaray win, which still puts Galatasaray through. And you know what? We'll leave that for the wrap up for the preview of knockouts. There we go.
Breakout. We got breakout chapels coming at you.
Oh wow, that's a throwback for me. Breakout chapels. I did not like to participate in those. That's a Lipscomb University reference for those 7 of you. Well, of the 2 watchers we have, maybe like one of you is familiar with that. Anyway, Group C. Also not finished. Really, really long shot odds here. Napoli's pretty much through. But Braga does get Napoli. They are at Napoli. But if Braga wins, they have to win by more than 3 goals. No. By more than 2 goals, right? Because that's what they did. Yeah, if Braga wins by 2 goals, they will go through to knockouts, and Napoli will drop to 3rd. Union Berlin theoretically could make it to Europa League if Braga loses, and they beat Real Madrid, which seems highly unlikely. So I think that Napoli does lose, but only 2-1. I think that
Wow.
yeah, I think that they lose 2-1. They lose 1-2 technically. And then for Union Berlin, I don't know how bad it's gonna be. They do have them at home. I'll leave it as just like a 2-0 loss for Union Berlin. Not a great showing by you fellas. Maybe focus on the domestic league because it's not going great for you there.
Yeah, I think Real Madrid also not a team doing well domestically, but they're showing that they're doing well internationally. I think they win 4-1. I think it's not very close. I do think, though, Napoli-Braga is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Braga need to win, so I think they take it to Napoli. I think Napoli holds on 2-2. I think they're going to have just enough stuff to stay in it. And I think that was my prediction, Real Madrid-Napoli. So
yeah, you had Real Madrid,
I
Napoli.
gotta go with it.
I went out of left field. I did go Union Berlin, so I'm sunk on this one. That's why I'm going for chaos. Also, yeah, I'm going for chaos. But yeah, you did have Braga going fourth though, so not quite perfect, but still quite good. Yeah. And then to Group D, the last of our Tuesday matches. This one is done and dusted for who's going through. It's Real Sociedad and Inter Milan. However, they will be playing essentially for who gets first because they drew on their first match day. And if they draw again, then Real Sociedad will get first. If Inter wins, they will get first. And then Salzburg and Benfica are playing for they are playing for Salzburg won initially. It would take quite an effort. Benfica would have to win by 2 goals as well in order to get through because Salzburg's only on -2 goal difference and they're on -6. Wow. No, I don't know what though. If they only won by 2, I don't know who goes through because that's -4 and -4. And Salzburg won the first. Would that be combined goals? Would be the next goals? Would goals 4?
I think it would be goals 4.
Goals 4.
Which
then
if
Benfica
wins,
would go
Benfica
through
would go
because they have
through.
more goals for. So if Benfica wins by 2, they would go through, and they do have to go to Salzburg though. How do you have this shaking out?
Yeah, I think Benfica again. They drew their last match week. I mean, they were 0-4 before that.
Yeah,
So I don't see them beating Salzburg. Salzburg's been pretty solid. I think it's a 1-1 draw.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of these teams have a ton to play for. Salzburg might want to go to Europa League, so maybe they decide that they're just going to park the bus, see what happens. Inter Sociedad, that's a good one. Both teams playing really well domestically, obviously played well internationally. So I think I'm going to give it to the bigger name. I think Inter wins 2-1.
Inter wins 2-1.
Sociedad's the David in this David-Goliath fight, and I think Goliath doesn't win, but he gets the upper hand this time.
You know, I think Real gets it 1-0. They've only conceded 2 goals thus far across the 5 matches. And it's not like Inter's blown it out of the water with a bunch of goals. So I think this is a 1-0 victory for Real Sociedad to keep it on first. And then for the Salzburg Benfica, I think Salzburg takes it outright 2-0.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Benfica's been giving up multiple goals each game. They've got 10 against a 4-4. Salzburg's only scored 3, so they'd almost double their production here. But, you know, it could happen. Benfica has not been great in the Champions League. That takes us to Wednesday, where, as we said previously, they started off with Group G, the Man City group, which is, once again, it's mostly done and dusted. Young Boys and Svernic Svedja Serenity City has to beat City in order to have a shot at the Europa League, and the Young Blues have to lose to Leipzig, Young Blues have to beat Leipzig,
gonna happen.
and neither of those things seem likely.
No.
So I think City. I mean, Haaland's out with a foot injury right now. I think they're not going to press him to get back fit for this match because it's totally unnecessary. I think, but City is still operable on offense without Haaland. It's a little bit different of a look. I mean, they ran a front three in the weekend, but I think they can still do it. I mean, Svernesvedja and Luton Town would be an interesting match. You know what I mean? So I think this is a 2-0 victory for City. Pretty straightforward. And then Young Boys and Leipzig. I mean, Leipzig, I think they just take it. I think it's actually a draw. I think this is a 2-2 draw for Young Boys and Leipzig. It's actually a pretty good showing by Young Boys there at the last match before Europa League.
Yeah, I don't think the result changes with Haaland being out, but the rumor is that he may have broken his foot.
Oh, no.
So could be out for several months. But Pep was asked about it in the post-game press conference, and he didn't really give any. He was just kind of like, I will not talk about it. So I don't know. Rumor is he broke his foot. He'll be out for a while. Other than that, we really don't have another striker. I mean, we have Alvarez, but he's mainly been operating as kind of that Kevin De Bruyne role most of the season. And with all of our other injuries, I wouldn't be shocked if our starting striker in this match was an academy player. Just being honest. But I think we win 3-1. I think we still control it, but Haaland being out is tough. I think RB Leipzig wins 4-0. I don't think that they even let Young Boys sniff around the goal. I think they just blow them out of the water.
I mean, you're probably closer to right than I am. But we will jump back up to Group E, which, let's see, who plays? Okay, we got another fight for at least for who's first, because Atletico Madrid's on 11, Lazio's on 10. They do play each other. So Lazio wins, they get first. Feyenoord already settled into their Europa League adventure. Celtic already eliminated, fully done and dusted. Done. But that's Atletico does have it at home. They are in Madrid. So how do you think can Lazio overcome?
Yeah, I don't know. Atletico Madrid's been a very bipolar team this year. Mm-hmm. 1 week they beat someone 5-0. The next week they lose 2-0. So I don't know. I think with this game, it being at Atletico, I'm hard pressed to think they lose. I think it's a 1-1 draw. But I think Lazio gets the first goal. Atletico Madrid gets it back. Mm-hmm. Celtic, I think, even though they're already eliminated, I think they get the victory against Feyenoord.
Really?
Just to say they got to win in the Champions League. I think they win 4-2. I think it's a high scoring game.
4-2. That's exciting. They are at home, and they did play better at home. That's where they got their draw. So good for them. I don't know that Celtic defense can withstand. I mean, they've given up 14 goals across these 5 matches. And Feyenoord, they aren't a slouch when it comes to offense. They've gotten 8, which is, not quite 2 a match, but still a good number. Celtic getting 4 would be pretty nuts, though, because that'd be over doubling their goal production thus far. I think it's more along the lines of 2-0 for Feyenoord. Celtic, I'll give them 1. I will give them 2-1. They can get something. Maybe it's one of those things where they give up 1 early, get 1 in like the 80th, and then give up a late one to go ahead and lose. As far as Atleti and Lazio, I just kind of for the same reason, I don't think that Lazio can stop Atletico Madrid's attack. They've gotten 15 goals across the 5 matches, which is 3 per match if you're doing that math. on average, okay, on average, I think that it's a 3-2 victory for Atletico Madrid. I think this is exciting.
All right.
I think that it's one of those things where it's like 2-2 going into the last couple minutes, and Lazio's pressing, and Madrid gets one of those, they just leak one out, and there's no one back for Lazio, and they get scored on and finishes it up. I mean, you're still through the knockouts, but it's disappointing. Yeah, and then on to Group F, the group of death. Dortmund's through. Everything else, we'll see. PSG on 7, Newcastle on 5, with the tiebreaker against Milan. Milan also on 5. It's Dortmund and PSG. Dortmund is still playing for something here. If they lose, they could go second. So it's not like Dortmund can just hang up their boots and call it a day. And then Newcastle and AC Milan are... it's not totally wide open, but there's a lot going on with Group F here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Dortmund having the home match, I think they take it to PSG. I think it's 3-1.
3-1.
Dortmund's been playing really great attacking as of late, and defensively they've been pretty solid.
Yeah.
So I think they win 3-1. I think PSG ends up bowing out into the Europa League because I think in spite of their horrid domestic play, Newcastle gets the victory against AC Milan.
Wow.
2-0.
Wow.
And I think it's Newcastle and Dortmund that move through.
Boy, that'd be something.
Great group, though. I mean, this has truly been a group of death. Because, we're in the final week, and there's still stuff to happen.
There's still a lot to be settled here. I think Dortmund do win. I don't know if it's quite 3-1. I think it's more 1-0 because they're as far as Champions League is concerned, they're stalwart. I mean, 3 goals against in all these matches thus far. I'll put it at 1-1, a 1-1 draw. And because Dortmund would be fine with that. I think they score first and they kind of settle back. And even after they give up the goal, they don't freak out. Like, listen, we still got this. We're still fine. And that obviously then puts PSG through. Because they would hold tiebreakers over both Newcastle and Milan in how this all works out, I believe. Or it'll be goal difference between Milan and PSG. And PSG not losing, Milan would have to win by like 5 goals in order to have a shot at it. Because I think they split they split the home and away for PSG and Milan. As far as Newcastle and AC Milan, I think Newcastle is too depleted. I don't think they can pull it off. Their last 2 matches they have looked depleted. They have not looked good. I know they get it at home, but there's only so much energy that St. James's Park can provide. You know what I mean? The only thing that makes me hesitate is that AC Milan has not scored very much. Only 3 goals across these matches. I think I don't think they get it done as in win, but I think Newcastle does go to Europe, go to the Europa League. I think they hold on for a 2-2 draw here. I think they hold on. Which, with the squad you have left, I think you take it.
The injuries have been tough for them. I think they had 12 guys on the old injured reserve, as we call it in America. They've
had 12, and then like one would get better, and another one would get injured. It's walking wounded over there in Newcastle. They're just barely hanging on. And then to the final group, Group H, which Antwerp has been the punching bag for this group. So as a result, Barcelona through. They're on 12 points. I think that they split with. No, they didn't split. And then Shakhtar and FC Porto both on 9. FC Porto and Shakhtar do play each other, so This one is Shakhtar is a win and in. FC Porto, draw, and you're fine. If you win, I think you might have a shot at getting first. Let me take a look here.
I don't know. I don't remember how Barcelona and them.
I think they...
Looks like Barcelona beat them.
No, Barcelona beat him twice. Barcelona beat him twice. Yeah. So Barcelona is in first. But Shakhtar they split with. Is that right?
I think so.
So theoretically, if Shakhtar won and Antwerp won, if Shakhtar was able to flip the 7 goal difference detriment that they have, they could go first.
Yeah.
I'm not putting money on that one. I am not. The odds on Shakhtar winning the group right now would be pretty high.
Yeah.
I don't think it happens anyway. I don't think Antwerp even sniffs the goal against Barcelona. I think they put it away 3-0. Pretty easy for Barcelona. And then for the FC Porto, Shakhtar Donetsk, Shakhtar, I mean, they're used to not playing at home, so I don't know. It really comes down to how good the home fans are for them for FC Porto. And I think it goes 2-1 to FC Porto. I think they're just a little better than Shakhtar is.
Yeah, I got to put Shakhtar winning. I think I had them winning the group maybe. Or at least going through.
You did.
I think Shakhtar wins 3-1.
Wow.
I think they understand it. I predicted them to go through. So that will really compel them to just do it for me. So I think they win 3-1. Barcelona, I think they win 4-0. I think Antwerp takes another beating. And they realize that they actually never want to win their league again, so they don't have to go back to the Champions.
So they don't have to survive. So they don't have to go through this embarrassment.
It's been pretty bad. So they go out 4-0. Barcelona wins the group. Shakhtar also goes through.
At least they finally scored some. At least they've scored a few goals. Antwerp. But yeah, that will wrap up the Champions League predictions. Still some stuff to get sorted out here. So it's not a coast through the last match day. So that's interesting. This is, I think we talked about this. This is the last year at this number, correct? This is the last year at 16.
Yep.
Yeah.
Moving last year at 32. I think they're moving.
Sorry, 32. Yeah.
The 48 or 50 something model. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We'll figure that out next year when it happens. But anyways, until tomorrow morning. Well, I don't know if there's any soccer. You find some soccer, okay? Go ahead and grab your coffee. Watch some soccer, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Aloha.